This morning, questions remain as to what happened in a deadly shooting spree in Denver and Lakewood. What we know as police piece this tragedy together.
I'm in Lakewood where the shooting ended. What we know about the latest victim and also the heroic officer who stopped the shooter.
COVID in Colorado, we are seeing long lines for testing, why getting tested at home might be the better option. It's a snowy day in the mountains, but we are in for a chilly day here in the metro area when we could see snow in Denver.
From Colorado's News Channel, this is CBS 4 This Morning.
Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, December 29th. I'm Michelle Griego. Let's get right over to Ashton Altieri in Colorado's Weather Center. It's cold out there.
Yes, it is. Temperatures in the teens for most neighborhoods along the Front Range this morning, and we're only going to climb into the 30s again today, so it's going to feel just as cold as it did yesterday. Some neighborhoods may actually be a degree or two colder than yesterday. In the mountains, we're going to start getting another blast of snow today. Accumulation in the mountains is going to be minor during the daytime today, but then tonight the snow will start to intensify. And this next storm coming into the state is a different animal. This one will actually bring some snow to Denver and the Front Range. That's going to start on Friday afternoon. For today, we'll be dry, just chilly. Again, teens for most of us this morning, 9 a.m. in Denver, 19 degrees. By noon, we'll crack freezing, 34, and then a high temperature today of 36 degrees. Much more on your weather coming up. Right now, let's get a check on the drive. Mackenzie's standing by. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Wanted to take a look at I-70 here in Vail. This is the chain area where all those semis chain up before hitting the pass there. You can see the snow is falling. Very snow-packed roads here along I-70 as well this morning. So if you are traveling into the high country, do be aware of those conditions and make sure you have the proper tires and equipment. Here's a look at a mile-high camera here in Denver. You can see I-25. Traffic's still relatively light at this point this morning, but things are moving through the Denver area. We do have one crash to let you know about this morning. The police have shut down the intersection of Westminster Boulevard and 92nd Avenue due to this crash. Southbound Westminster Boulevard and eastbound 92nd are both closed as a result of this, so best to avoid this intersection if possible this morning. When we take a look at the wide metro map, other than that issue up north, we don't have any other delays or crashes to let you know about, and if you're heading out the door at this point, all of our interstates around the metro area are looking wide open.
Mackenzie, thank you. This morning, investigators are still unpacking Monday night's deadly shooting spree. We now know one more person has died. That is 5 people dead at the hands of a lone gunman who was also shot and killed that night. Sarah Steck has been identified as the 5th and last person murdered. She was a clerk at the Hyatt House Hotel in the Belmar development in Lakewood. Steck died from her injuries on Tuesday. 3 other victims have been identified. Alicia Cardenas, the owner of Soul Tribe Tattoo. Alyssa Maldonado, a Soul Tribe employee. Dan Schofield worked at the Lucky 13 tattoo shop, and we still don't know the name of the man killed near Cheeseman Park. The tattoo community is really feeling the impacts of the loss of some of their own. One of the victims, Denver native Alicia Cardenas, was a well-known artist at her shop, Soul Tribe. And we spoke with her father yesterday, who told us his heart is hurting.
She's going to be greatly missed. She affected a huge segment of Denver community. Influential, friendly, could be gruff, but a real sweetheart. It's just going to be hard to go on.
Alicia leaves behind a 12-year-old daughter. Investigators say the shooter was 47-year-old Lyndon McLeod. He died after being shot by a Lakewood police officer. Earlier security camera video shows McLeod walking into one of the shooting scenes, Lucky 13 Tattoo, with a large gun. This violence spread across Denver and Lakewood. According to investigators, the shooter had crossed paths previously with some of his victims. It began in Denver at Soul Tribe Tattoo near First and Broadway, where the gunman shot and killed 2 employees and injured a man. He then broke into a home, chasing a couple and setting their van on fire. Next, McLeod went to an apartment complex near Cheeseman Park and killed a man there. Then shots were fired along 6th Avenue before a shootout with a Denver cop at 8th and Zuni. McLeod got away and headed to Lucky 13 Tattoo in Lakewood, and that is where that surveillance video is from and where he killed a tattoo artist. From there, he moved south to the Belmar area, where he shot the clerk at the Hyatt Hotel, and that's where we find our Justin Adams. Justin?
Well, good morning, Michelle. Actually, we're finding out more about the hotel clerk that was shot and killed at the Hyatt Hotel. Want to step by and actually let you see right here. Here is a growing memorial of flowers, of candles as well, that has been here all morning long in honor of that individual who was killed. And Sarah Steck was a front desk clerk at the Hyatt Hotel, and police believe McLeod had previous interactions with the hotel and not with her. Unlike the other victims who they believe the gunman knew. We also found out more about the Lakewood police officer who killed the gunman after being shot. The agent was shot in the abdomen around her protective vest and managed to shoot back, killing the gunman and likely saving more lives.
Just cannot emphasize enough is how heroic this Lakewood agent is. And we are beyond proud of her actions and the lives that she likely saved because of her acts last night.
Now, the Lakewood police officer, whose name is being withheld, has been on the force for 3 years, and she is in the hospital right now, recovering from her injuries. In Lakewood, Justin Adams, covering Colorado First.
And of course, this is a tragic situation we are continuing to cover. We will update you on our website, cbsdenver.com, and on CBSN Denver. This morning, we are seeing concerning COVID trends in Colorado and an increased effort to keep Coloradans safe. After weeks of trending down, our hospitalizations are climbing again. Since Christmas Day, hospitalizations due to COVID have gone from 992 to 1,057. These hospitalizations come as more than 6,000 Coloradans reported positive COVID test results in just the past day. And our 7-day positivity rate continues to climb to nearly 14%. That's up from 12.6% earlier in the week. Several counties are responding to the surge in cases by extending their indoor mask mandates. Those mandates in Denver, Broomfield, Boulder, Adams, and Arapahoe counties now go through February 3rd. They were set to expire in January. The latest COVID surge is driving testing demands and lines. Dr. Fauci is encouraging people to continue to use at-home COVID-19 antigen tests after the U.S. Food and Drug Administration said Tuesday the test may be less sensitive at detecting the Omicron variant.
The tests are still worthwhile. Don't let anybody think that the FDA was saying the tests are no longer good. They say they're less sensitive now. They never were 100% sensitive, the antigen tests. Everybody knew that. What the FDA is saying today is that when you look at Omicron and its ability to detect Omicron, some of the tests have a diminution further of the sensitivity, but they still say the tests are useful and should be used.
The FDA says people should continue to use the test and be sure to follow those instructions closely. It is 6:07 right now. Let's get another check on our weather. Hey, Ashton.
Good morning to you, Michelle. The sun will be up in about an hour and 10 minutes. And just like yesterday, we're going to have a mix of sun and clouds. So long as you're standing in the sun today, it should not feel all that cold. But in the shade, or if the wind's blowing on you, it's going to feel quite chilly again. Temperatures only in the 30s coming up this afternoon. And this morning, most neighborhoods are in the teens. So make sure you're prepared for the chill. We're going to start to get a little bit of mountain snow coming up here later today, but it's going to be more tonight into tomorrow that the mountain snow intensifies. And Michelle, this next storm moving into Colorado, this thing's a different animal. This one's going to finally bring Denver some snow, but not until Friday afternoon. We'll talk much more about it coming up.
All right, Ashton, thank you. It is 6:08 right now. Labor shortages continue to leave businesses struggling across the U.S. Ahead, how a new app is giving workers more flexibility and getting people back to work. Plus, with one avalanche death already this winter, the warnings you need to look out for. The search continues for a missing Colorado skier in California, 43-year-old Rory Angelata. He is an avid skier who moved to Truckee, California in October. He works at the Surefoot Ski Resort near the North Star Resort close to Lake Tahoe. He went missing Saturday just before noon as a massive snowstorm hit.
We're very concerned that our brother may not be coming home to us, but we're still very hopeful.
Friends reported him missing just before 10 Christmas night. He did not show up for dinner. There was extreme weather at the resort where search and rescue teams looked overnight for him. Avalanche conditions have limited their search efforts. The county is now asking for help from anyone who may have seen Rory. And the experts over at Colorado Avalanche Information Center say backcountry conditions are very dangerous in our state right now. Their map updated on Tuesday to show high danger levels. That's the red color in the majority of our Colorado Rockies. Experts say avalanches are breaking really wide, up to a half mile. They shared a photo from a recent avalanche in the 10-mile range near Breckenridge Ski Resort, and they're asking everyone to just stick to inbound skiing for right now. And you look at that map and it's a little scary.
It's concerning for sure. The avalanche warning continues until at least 8 o'clock this morning, and we do expect state officials will renew that. Natural and human-triggered avalanches are likely in the backcountry today. Crested Butte is approaching 7 feet of snow, or at least 6 feet of snow in the last 6 days. They have 8 inches on their morning report there. Most of our ski areas have done quite well in the last 24 hours. Powderhorn, look at that. Grand Junction topping the list, a foot. Sunlight has 8 inches. Monarch 8 inches this morning. Winter Park 7 inches. Snowmass and Vail also 7 inches of snow. Again, that's in the last 24 hours. Temperatures this morning in the single digits and teens for most neighborhoods. We have 20 downtown. We're the warmest spot. Broomfield's at 16. It's 10 in Aurora. Lakewood is at 9. Centennial at 10. Castle Rock at 12. Luckily, there's not much wind, but there's enough to make a difference. Feels like -4 in Hudson, -2 in Greeley and in Windsor when you factor in the wind. Those are the wind chill numbers. Later today, highs in the mid to upper 30s around Denver, Boulder, and Fort Collins. Still a few 40s and 50s in southeast Colorado. We'll see 20s and 30s in the mountains. Tomorrow, we warm back up. Southwesterly flow gets us back up to around 50 or so, and then we drop again on Friday. Cold front arrives in the afternoon. Highs will be in the 30s, and temperatures will be dropping like a rock as we welcome in the new year coming up on Friday night as this storm system here on the west coast makes its way in our direction. Some more big snow out there for Tahoe. Lots of rain from northern California again. This storm is going to finally move in a direction that makes sense for us here in Denver in the Front Range to get some snow. It heads towards Arizona and then moves into New Mexico, eventually sets up in southeast Colorado. And as we like to say, southeast lows, Denver gets the snow. And this time around, we absolutely will. So this is going to be a different winter storm compared to all the other ones we've had recently because it's not just the mountains. We'll also get some snow in Denver. Mountain areas west of Vail Pass looking at 1 to 2 feet of snow with this next storm. That's from tonight through Friday night, up to 3 feet in the San Juans. Summit County, Winter Park looking at 8 to 16 inches of snow. Farther north, 10 to 20 inches of snow up near Rocky Mountain National Park. And speaking of that area, there's also a high wind watch for hurricane force wind from late tonight through Thursday evening. Estes down into the foothills of Boulder County. The wind's going to be extreme. Snowfall forecast for Denver, not extreme. But still, this is going to be the most snow most of us have gotten so far this season. We're looking at 1 to 4 inches of snow from Friday afternoon through Saturday morning. That snow will wrap up very early Saturday, probably before the sun comes up for the first time of the new year. Saturday afternoon, high temperature only 24. And then we climb into the 40s on Sunday. 50s coming our way next week. For the 2 firework displays downtown Denver coming up on Friday night. First one, 9 p.m. That's what I'm talking about. I can't make it much later than that. 21. By midnight, 18. It's going to be cold. It's going to be snowy. It's going to be windy. So just make sure you're prepared if you're going to be out and about.
I'm thinking there are going to be a lot of warm drinks that night.
Yeah.
Yes. Right?
Well, there's going to be drinks. So, yeah, there'll probably be warm drinks.
Something, it warms you up.
Yeah,
right, that's what you need.
It'll work. All right, what do the roads look like?
All right, so if you're heading out the door at this point, things are looking really good. So here's a look at our mile high camera. Traffic picking up just a little bit, but still on all of our interstates, they are moving smoothly. We do have that crash still up in Westminster, southbound Westminster Boulevard at 92nd Avenue. The intersection is closed while police work on this accident, so do avoid that area if possible. When we take a wide look at the metro map, all of our interstates are looking good as well, still wide open and average speed in the green everywhere across the metro area. And there's a new app helping to fight pandemic-related labor shortages. InstaWorkers is giving employees the flexibility that they're all looking for. So InstaWork was founded in 2016, but it really just took off when COVID hit. And it's pretty simple. A worker creates a profile and then has the chance to get hired for a day of work. And the best part, they receive their pay by the end of the day all through the app. So the app's founder says it allows people to make more money all while creating their own schedules.
We found that about half of our professionals aren't willing to work for less than $15 an hour. The whole workforce changed how they work during the pandemic. They're not just looking for better jobs or higher pay, they're looking for more flexible work.
And they say it's paying off for those who are using the app because since April of this year, the wages for jobs listed are up an average of 20%. So very flexible option for people who are still looking for work or unsure what exactly they want to be doing.
Yeah, it's a variety too.
Yeah, you get to do a bunch of different things. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is cool. All right, Mackenzie, thank you. Well, the U.S. housing market continues to be hot for sellers. In Denver, housing prices rose nearly 20% in October compared to the same time last year. This is according to the S&P 20-City Home Price Index. Nationally, home prices rose just over 18%. Phoenix, Tampa, and Miami saw the biggest gains. Analysts say the rise is due to a combination of factors, including low interest rates, a limited supply of houses actually up for sale, and people looking to trade up for bigger spaces after being stuck at home during much of the pandemic. And just as the U.S. cruise industry had gotten back out on the seas working on its recovery, there is concern it could be shut down again thanks to the pandemic. The CDC said yesterday it has identified 85 cruise ships with COVID on board. There are reports a few ports in the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, and Mexico won't let passengers disembark if they're on ships with COVID cases. Carnival, the world's largest cruise operator, said earlier this week it would find alternate ports if necessary. So how does $441 million sound to start off your new year? Not too bad, right? Well, someone could take that home if they win the Powerball. That is where the pot stands right now, the third highest of the year. There will be a drawing today, so make sure you get your ticket if you haven't already. And good luck to everyone out there. All right, let's get over to Ashton with their dog walk forecast. Who do you have for us?
All right, so we have a dog coming from the Western Slope. This is Frank Francis. He is from Parachute. I want to thank our friend and viewer, Troy Frost, for sharing Frank with us. Wired hair, miniature dachshund. Loves the morning walks, loves chasing rabbits, is apparently he's doing there in that photo from last summer. We have a yellow paw throughout the day. It is cold. Make sure you're prepared for your dog walk. You'll feel the chill. Temps in the teens this morning, 20s by 11 a.m. We'll crack freezing by noon, and we won't get far above freezing. Maybe 35, 36. That's exactly where we were yesterday, Michelle. So if you thought it was cold for yesterday's dog walk, you'll certainly think it's cold for today's dog walk. Let's get a check on morning sports.
From CBS 4, time now for First Look Sports, powered by Ford.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Michael Spencer, and here's what people will be talking about today. Nuggets came out red hot last night in San Francisco against the Warriors. Will Barton had 17 points in the first half. He finished with 21. Nuggets led by as many as 24. However, Golden State had a shot to send it to overtime. Andre Iguodala's three-pointer would come up short, though, as the Nuggets survive. Woo, it wasn't pretty, but they got the W. That's all that matters in the end. They will play the Warriors again tomorrow night at Ball Arena.
Alcohol use spiked during the pandemic, and now there is a surge of apps trying to help people cut back. Ahead, the new tools that encourage mindful drinking.
That was the Ford Sports Break, powered by the F-150 with best-in-class capabilities. No wonder Ford F-Series are the best-selling trucks for 44 years. Build better, build stronger, build Ford tough, and only at your local Ford stores.
Welcome back to CBS 4 this morning. It's time to check your travel forecast. There will be a few areas around the country with significant weather today that will cause problems, including in Nashville and Memphis. It's very warm over there. There's going to be severe weather. There could be big slowdowns. Nothing originating out of Denver if you're flying out of our airport that should cause any issues today. It's going to be chilly here. It's going to be cold if you're walking down the jet bridge to a plane. But other than that, no problems. To the west of us, different story. Salt Lake City, some more snow today. More rain and snow in Northern California, and very cold again up into the northwest. Seattle only 29. All major airports around the country currently showing average delays of less than 15 minutes. Just like yesterday in Denver, we're only going to reach 36 degrees today. Tomorrow, 51, and then the cold front rolls in on Friday. This next storm coming at Colorado is a different animal. This one's not going to only bring big snow to the mountains. It's going to bring snow to Denver in the Front Range. We're looking at about 1 to 4 inches of snow for Denver. That's the current forecast from Friday afternoon through Saturday morning. And look at these temperatures, down to 8 degrees Friday night, high on Saturday only 24. Michelle, it's going to be a very cold start to 2022.
Yeah, indoor partying, I
There
think
you
sounds
go.
good.
That's good advice.
All right, Ashton, thanks. Well, Americans report drinking more during the pandemic, and now more people are trying to cut back on their alcohol use. Changing behavior, we know, isn't easy, but new apps are trying to help with the focus on mindful drinking. An app from the startup Sunnyside logs and analyzes how people use alcohol. Women have seen the highest spikes in pandemic drinking, reporting a 41% increase in heavy drinking episodes.
Seeing a lot of stress drinking, mothers especially, around the challenges of dealing with kids and work and household.
Doctors say cutting back can have real health benefits, improving sleep and heart health, and apps can be a good first step. People with expired passports will be allowed to return to the U.S. The State Department says American citizens can travel back with certain expired passports until the end of March 2022. The exception applies to those whose passports expired on or after January 1st, 2020. Officials caution other criteria may apply, and people should check on the specific information in each country before making travel plans. Well, thanks to top earners like Spider-Man: No Way Home, 2021 box office revenue is way up over last year, but still down 61% from pre-pandemic 2019. Industry projections estimate the domestic box office will reach $4.4 billion through these last days of the year. The Omicron variant could keep some moviegoers home during what is typically the busiest time. It is 6:26 right now. Rising COVID cases could impact your grocery bill. Why the surge has lawmakers concerned about the economy. Omicron could mean a major hit to our economy when gas prices could hit $4, according to the experts.
Memorials continue to grow for Sarah Steck, who was the 28-year-old hotel clerk at the Hyatt Hotel who was killed in Monday's shooting. I'm going to tell you more about her coming up in a bit.
Traffic starting to pick up around the metro area. I'll tell you the trouble spots we're seeing this morning.
From Colorado's News Channel, this is CBS 4 This Morning.
Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, December 29th. I'm Michelle Griego. Thanks for waking up with us this morning. We want to get right over to Ashton Altieri, who has all the details on what might be a snowy New Year's Eve holiday.
Yeah, that's right. Snowy and cold, windy as well. We're going to have some rough weather around here on Friday night as the next storm approaches Colorado. And as we've been saying, this next storm is different. Not only will the mountains get big snow with this storm starting tonight for the most part, we're also going to get some snow in Denver. But it's a big storm. It's going to take a while to move across our region. We won't get the snow here in town until Friday afternoon at the earliest. Richard Harvey, he's in Denver's Lowry neighborhood. Our weather watcher there on the east side of town reporting 10. It's cold all around the metro area this morning. George Smith in Lakewood also has 10 degrees. Some areas have dropped into the single digits, especially up in Weld County and then also in the mountains. Mark Russell up in Walden, he's at 8 degrees. Ted over in Steamboat Springs is at 17. It's actually a little bit warmer in Steamboat than it is in Lakewood right now. That'll give you an indication of how chilly it is outside this morning. Backyard forecast, kids home from school. We want to get them outside, exert a little energy, spend a little time in the sunshine, just make sure they're prepared for the chill. Highs only in the 30s. It's going to be just as cold today as it was yesterday. Much more on your weather, including the incoming snow coming up. Right now, let's get a check on the drive. Good morning, Mackenzie.
Hey, good morning. We're taking a look at I-70 in Vail. You can see the snow is falling, some snow-packed roads, and this is an area where those semis are chaining up due to some traction laws in effect in the high country. So if you are traveling through the mountains this morning, do be aware of some of those snowy conditions. Different story down here in the metro area. This is a look at our Mile High camera. You can see traffic is starting to pick up, but still moving very smoothly through the metro area. We do have one crash to let you know about this morning. This is at Westminster Boulevard and 92nd Avenue. This has closed the intersection there, and you cannot travel eastbound on 92nd starting at Pierce. So your best bet to get around this is 88th Avenue to the south or Church Ranch Boulevard to the north. Other than that, things are looking great in all of the metro area interstates. You can see all those speeds are looking average in the green.
Mackenzie, thank you. Turning now to the latest developments in the deadly shooting spree that happened across Denver and Lakewood on Monday night. We now know a fifth person has died and how the shooter was taken down by a Lakewood police officer. Sarah Steck has been identified as the fifth and last person killed. She was a clerk at the Hyatt House Hotel in the Belmar development in Lakewood. Steck died from her injuries on Tuesday. Investigators say the shooter was 47-year-old Lyndon McLeod. One of the victims he shot and injured was a member of the Lakewood police force. The department says the officer's actions were nothing short of heroic.
Our Lakewood police agent ordered the suspect to drop his weapon. The suspect then moved in on our agent and opened fire on her, striking her once. That agent, courageously, after being shot, was able to somehow compose herself and return fire on the suspect, striking him, and eventually he was also pronounced dead at the scene.
We do not yet know the name of the injured officer, but we do know she has been on the force for only 3 years. The memorials at the sites of the shootings are growing by the day, and our Justin Adams joins us live now from the Hyatt Hotel, where one of the 5 victims was killed. Justin?
Well, good morning, Michelle. As you can see right here, here is one of the memorials that has been growing. It's been here all morning long with candles and flowers, all in honor of Sarah Steck, who was one of the individuals who was killed in Monday's shooting. Now, I had a chance to speak with one of the front office clerks here who worked with Sarah for 1.5 years, and he didn't want to go on camera, but he wanted to make sure that everyone knew that Sarah was kind and truly cared about others. Now, Sarah was one of the 5 individuals who was killed in the shooting on Monday, and just a terrible situation overall. Now, while police have not released a motive of the shooting, they say the gunman targeted his other victims and were unsure why he shot Steck. Denver Police Chief Paul Pazin says police did check on McLeod after reports about him in mid-2020 and earlier this year. Police would not talk about the nature of the investigations or why there was no reason for charges. But McLeod's contact with the tattoo industry, investigators believe, was behind the shooting spree.
Were known to him. There were prior relationships, either personal relationships, business relationships that were involved there.
Now, as for the police officer who shot and killed McLeod, she is currently in the hospital recovering from her injuries. She was shot in the abdomen and her protective vest was able to protect her abdomen. In Lakewood, Justin Adams, covering Colorado First.
This is a tragic situation that we are continuing to cover. We will update you on our website, cbsdenver.com, and on CBSN Denver. 2022 is just a few days away, but the Omicron variant may mean another major hit to our economy. Rising cases are raising safety concerns and hitting the workforce, all while the supply and demand balance remains out of whack. GasBuddy.com predicts the national average for gas prices could flirt with the $4 mark by Memorial Day, and agricultural experts believe food prices at the grocery store will remain higher than normal. Economists say they are keeping a close eye on COVID-19 and Capitol Hill.
The big part of the Build Back Better agenda is the child tax credit, and that expires at the end of this year. And so folks, the families with children that are getting that tax credit won't get that money early next year, and that'll hurt. And of course, this combined with Omicron means that the growth going into next year will be weaker than previously anticipated.
Experts say high demand, high shipping costs, and bad weather are also contributing to the rise in prices. Back here in Colorado, COVID concerns have the town of Breckenridge sending all its non-essential employees home. All government offices are closed and employees will work remotely until further notice. Departments can still be reached directly by phone or email during regular business hours. All public services are still operating, but with a high COVID caseload, the county is asking residents and visitors to mask up.
So, do the right thing if you're coming to town. Do the right thing if you're living in town. Mask as much as you can. If you're going to the grocery store, wear a mask. Post office, wear a mask. In a crowded place, wear a mask as much as you can.
The town is following along with the recommendations from Summit County. We have an update now on Monday's Oak Fire just west of C470 near Ken Carroll. West Metro Fire Rescue says a person started the fire. It began near the Westerly Apartments just after 2 in the afternoon, and it was in an open area near trails with heavy foot traffic. 25 firefighters continued working on it on Tuesday. It is now 50% contained and has burned 152 acres. The specific cause of that fire is still under investigation. 6:37 right now. We want to get another check of our weather, our cold weather.
That's right. It's going to be another very chilly day for us. Highs only in the 30s today, Michelle. The next storm coming to Colorado, it's still about 900 miles to the west of us. It's just north of San Francisco this morning. This storm's going to take a track that takes it south into Arizona, over into New Mexico, which is great news for us along the Front Range where we really need the moisture because that's going to mean upslope flow with that storm southeast of us. We'll talk much more about the track that storm will take coming up here in just a few minutes. Today, temperatures really struggle to warm up. In fact, we'll still be below freezing at 11 a.m. It's probably not going to be until about 12:30 this afternoon that we actually crack 32 degrees, and then we won't climb very far above that. High today between about 36 and 38 for most of us, and you can expect a mix of sun and clouds, a little bit of a breeze from time to time, stronger wind coming our way tomorrow. We'll talk about all this in much more detail coming up. Michelle.
All right, Ashton, thank you. It is 6:37 right now. The world continues to remember football legend John Madden. Ahead, what Broncos great Peyton Manning is saying about the football icon. And let's take another look outside at our Mile High Cam. As you can see some cars out there on the road as people make their way into work this morning. You're watching CBS 4 This Morning on Colorado's News Channel. We are covering the nation for you this morning. U.S. leaders are mourning former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, who died after a 4-year battle with pancreatic cancer at the age of 82. The Democrat led the Senate under 2 presidents, Republican George W. Bush and Democrat Barack Obama. New this morning on Twitter, Governor Polis said, quote, "I am saddened by the loss of Senator Harry Reid, who turned the lessons of a bleak childhood into a positive career focused on making life better for everyday Americans." Colorado Senator Michael Bennet said Harry Reid never forgot he was from Searchlight, Nevada. He loved his wife, Landra, and his family, and he was a committed public servant as tough as nails. NFL Hall of Fame coach and broadcaster John Madden has died at the age of 85. Madden coached the Raiders for 10 years, making it to 7 AFC title games and won the Super Bowl following the 1976 season. He began his broadcasting career here at CBS, and he would also go on to become the face of the iconic Madden football game franchise that sold over 100 million copies. Broncos great Peyton Manning opened up about the football icon, saying, quote, "I always appreciated his friendship and support of my football career. There will never be another like Coach Madden." Well, check this out. There has been so much snow in Lake Tahoe, it actually broke a 50-year-old record. More snow has fallen there this month than in any December on record, and that goes back to 1879. The latest storm dumped 39 inches of snow over a 24-hour period on Monday. It brought the total for the month up to 193 inches. The old record stood since 1970, and even more snow is predicted for the area, and Lake Tahoe could crack the 200-inch mark for the month. And watching all of this video and these pictures, Ashton's beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's almost too much snow to ski, though. The problem is they have a tough time getting the lifts going. The snow that's going to fall there in the Sierra, including the Lake Tahoe area today, will make its way toward the Rocky Mountains over the next couple of days. And eventually, some of that snow will make its way to Denver, finally coming up on Friday night. Not great timing because it's going to be snowing just as we welcome in the new year. It's going to be quite cold and windy as well. 15 degrees up in Crested Butte. They had 8 inches on their morning report. They have now seen about 6 feet of snow in the last 6 days there at Crested Butte. Powderhorn tops the list of the last 24 hours, though. Go Grand Junction, a foot of snow out that way. Sunlight Mountain near Glenwood Springs, 8 inches. Monarch Head is 8 inches. Winter Park, 7 inches. Snowmass, 7 inches. Vail, also 7 inches of snow since yesterday. Temperatures in the single digits and teens along the Front Range this morning. Luckily, there's not much wind, but there's enough to make a difference. -2 is how it feels in Hudson. Same thing for Windsor and Greeley. 2 degrees above zero on the wind chill in Broomfield. it feels like 10 in Centennial and similar in Highlands Ranch and Lone Tree. Later today, plan on temperatures in the mid-30s for most of us. It's going to be just like yesterday. We will have a mix of sun and clouds, and so long as you're standing in the sun and the wind's not blowing, it won't be bad. But when the wind's blowing, you're in the shade, it's going to feel very cold today. Temps in the 40s and 50s in southeast Colorado, 20s and 30s in the mountains. Tomorrow, we warm back up. Southwesterly wind up to around 35 miles per hour. Gets us back up to around 50 degrees, but that doesn't last. Cold front on Friday drops us back down into the 30s. All right, let's zoom out. We'll show you California. Look at all that rain and snow over there. There's the storm. Cold front out ahead of it. That front will arrive in Denver Friday afternoon. Behind the front, we're going to start to get the upslope that we need to get some snow here along the front range. So finally, it's going to be our turn. This is going to be a different storm. Not only will the mountains get snow, Denver and the front range will as well. Look at the mountain snow numbers, though. 1 to 2 feet west of Vail Pass, up to 3 feet down in the San Juans. This is from tonight through Friday night. What we get today in the mountains is going to be minor. Then the snow really intensifies tonight through Friday night. 8 to 16 inches Summit County on I-70 from Georgetown to Copper, and then 10 to 20 inches of snow up around Rocky Mountain National Park. And speaking of that area, there's a high wind watch there from late tonight through tomorrow evening. Wind gusts up to 75 miles per hour. We could have hurricane force wind around Red Feather Lakes, Estes Park, Grand Lake, Granby, Nettleton, and Ward, the foothills of Boulder County. All right, Denver's snow forecast, 1 to 4 inches. This is not going to be a big storm, but remember, most of us haven't had more than 1 inch of snow so far this season. So the potential is there for this to certainly be the biggest snow event so far. This is going to be Friday night into Saturday morning. Snow should end before the sun comes up on Saturday, and Saturday is going to be a cold day, 24. Temps drop to single digits on Saturday morning, and we'll be in the teens for the 2 town firework displays on Friday evening. All right, Mackenzie, how's the drive looking this morning?
All right, so we have a crash in Vail on I-70 this morning. You can see all those first responders there on scene. It's hard to tell, but in the bottom corner of your screen there, that's where it appears a vehicle may have slid into a semi. So do be aware of these slippery and snowy conditions through I-70, through the high country. Those traction laws are in effect as well. So if you are traveling, make sure you're keeping an eye on those conditions and are equipped properly. Here in the metro area, traffic starting to pick up, but things still moving smoothly through the metro area. This is a look at our mile-high camera through downtown Denver. We do still have this crash, Westminster Boulevard and 92nd Avenue, that has closed down that intersection. Keeping an eye on that this morning, but best to avoid that section of roadway if possible. And then a wide look at the metro area. Things are looking good on all of our major interstates. Things are showing those average speeds and are wide open at this point this morning. The pandemic is changing the way that people have been looking for work, so many are searching for a more flexible schedule, and the app InstaWork is helping people define just that. So the app allows workers to create a profile and then get hired as a temporary worker. They also get paid that exact same day all through the app. So Chester Lemon got on the app after he lost his job. He said he's done everything from working concerts to working at clothing warehouses. Now, he doesn't get benefits or overtime, but he says that he loves being able to be his own boss and set his own schedule.
You ever see yourself having a regular 9-to-5 job again at one place?
It's going to be hard right now because I've gotten so used to this now. When you know you can just make money tonight, tomorrow, anytime you feel like it.
So wages for the jobs that are listed on that app are also up an average of 20% since earlier this year. And Michelle, it's kind of cool because you can sign up for whatever type of work you want. And like you said, concerts, clothing stores, the opportunities are endless.
A whole variety of different jobs. All right, Mackenzie, thank you. It is 6:47 right now. The uptick of COVID cases impacting children at an alarming rate, the latest push to protect them. Plus, the NFL switching up how they handle COVID cases, how this change could impact the Broncos this Sunday. The recent COVID surge is creating an alarming trend amongst kids. The U.S. is now averaging 260 pediatric COVID hospitalizations a day. That is up nearly 30% from just a week ago. Healthcare workers say a majority of the children in the hospital are unvaccinated. Nationwide, just 23% of 5 to 11-year-olds have received the vaccine. Doctors are urging parents to take the Omicron variant more seriously.
Vaccine is so much safer than getting the virus itself. And so giving your child the vaccine keeps them safer than letting them get infected with this virus without any immunity from a vaccine.
Experts say vaccines are not just important to keep kids healthy, but also to keep them in school. The NFL is changing its COVID protocols and will now allow players who test positive to return in 5 days instead of the 10-day waiting period. That could be big news for the Broncos and means that center Lloyd Cushenberry and defensive lineman Mike Purcell could be back this week when the Broncos visit the Chargers. All right, Ashton, let's get a check on our weather now. It's cold.
It is cold. No, I can attest to that. We're at 20 degrees here downtown Denver, and we're actually one of the warmer spots around. Most locations along the Front Range are either in the single digits or teens, so make sure you're prepared before you step out the door this morning. I wanted to start with the snowpack map. This has just been a remarkable turnaround in the last couple of weeks. We started December looking at such a grim situation with our snowpack. We were facing record lows in some of our river basins, and now 5 of our 8 river basins are above normal when it comes to snowpack. Others are nearing normal, including the South Platte River Basin, which of course includes the Denver metro area. We're at 95% of average when you look at snowpack, and statewide we're now above 100%. So yes, we still need more snow, especially for the basins east of the divide, but overall we're in so much better shape now with snow in our state. 20 degrees here where I'm standing, as I mentioned. By 9 a.m., 22. So over the next few hours, we're not going to change very much. In fact, we'll still be below freezing at 11 o'clock this morning. It's going to be 12:30 before we crack freezing, and we won't go far above freezing. It's going to feel just as cold as it did yesterday. Highs only in the 30s. Sun comes up at 7:20. The good news, Michelle, is that we will see some sunshine today mixed in with a few clouds, and so long as you're standing in the sun, it won't feel that bad. But if you're in the shade with the wind blowing on you, it's going to be awfully chilly. We've got one final check of your extended forecast, including Denver's snow forecast for Friday, straight ahead.
Yeah, the sunshine always makes a big difference. All right, Ashton, thank you. Coming up, new quarantine rules impacting millions across the country. Ahead, how it could impact restaurants here in Colorado. And be careful out there. You are looking live at an accident on I-70. This is in Vail with the snow coming down and snow-packed roads. We're going to have more on this in just a bit. You're watching CBS 4 this morning. We'll be right back. If you're just joining us now, we are staying on top of the latest on that deadly shooting spree that rocked the metro area Monday night. It left 5 people and the shooter dead. 3 of the victims attached to the local tattoo community, including Alicia Cardenas, the owner of Soul Tribe Tattoo, Alyssa Maldonado, a Soul Tribe employee. Dan Schofield worked at the Lucky 13 tattoo shop, and we still do not know the name of the man killed near Cheeseman Park. The community still rocked by this tragedy.
She was a unique person. You would never forget her once you met her.
It was really hard for people last night.
The final victim has been identified as Sarah Steck, a hotel clerk at the Hyatt House Hotel in the Belmar development in Lakewood, and that's where we find Justin Adams with more. Justin?
Well, Michelle, we found out more about Sarah Steck and actually had a chance to speak to a co-worker of hers who worked with her for a year and a half, another front office clerk as well. And he told me earlier this morning that it could have been him as well. Actually, as I was speaking to him, his hand was shaking. He still is very moved by what happened just a couple of days ago. He also wanted people to know about Sarah Steck, that she was very kind and that she truly cared about everyone. Now, also about the gunman as well, Denver police have not released a motive in the shooting, and they say the gunman targeted his other victims, but they weren't sure why he shot Steck. Now, Denver Police Chief Paul Pazis says police did check on McLeod after reports about him in mid-2020 and earlier this year. Now, police would not talk about the nature of the investigations or why there was no reason for any of the charges as well. But McLeod's contact with the tattoo industry, investigators believe, was behind the shooting spree in general. Now, finally, want to talk about the police officer, the Lakewood police officer who shot and killed McLeod. She is currently in the hospital recovering from her injuries. She was shot in the abdomen, but her police vest protected her abdomen as well. She's still in the hospital recovering from her injuries. Back to you.
Yeah, her efforts are being called heroic. All right, Justin, thank you. And of course, this is a tragic situation we are continuing to cover. We will update you on our website, cbsdenver.com, and on CBSN Denver. Several counties are responding to the surge in COVID cases by extending their indoor mask mandates. Those mandates in Denver, Broomfield, Boulder, Adams, and Arapahoe counties now go through February 3rd. They were set to expire in January, but They will run in through the first week of February. Now, this week, the CDC adjusted its guidelines for quarantine time periods, dropping from 10 days to 5 days if people are asymptomatic. Some are criticizing this move, but others say the change is welcome. That includes those in the restaurant industry. Many say changing quarantine guidelines will help businesses. The owner of the Barolo Grill and other spots in Denver say shorter quarantines will help lift the stress on small operations like his. With a staff of 30 at Barolo, just losing a few employees to a positive test can seriously impact service.
But it challenges us hugely if we're without a dishwasher. Some nights I'm actually serving food, or I'm pulling corks, or I'm bussing tables. So my job's to do whatever it takes to help everybody out.
Spokesperson for the Colorado Restaurant Association says the new guidelines will help the industry bounce back. All right, Mackenzie, you're tracking this accident.
Yes, we have an accident eastbound I-70 in Vail just before you approach the past eastbound. We can see the fire trucks have left the scene, an ambulance left the scene, but still blocking that crash there. That's in the bottom hand of your right-hand corner of your screen. Kind of hard to see, but that tow truck there pulling up right now. So if you are traveling through the high country, do be aware of slippery conditions. Traction laws are in effect. On the flip side, here in the metro area, things are looking great if you're traveling anywhere in the metro area. All of our interstates are looking good. You can see here, Ashton, a lot of green on the screen for this point this morning.
All right, so Mackenzie, as bad as that Vail camera looked, the snow in the mountains is actually pretty minor right now, and it's going to be minor through the day. It really picks up in intensity tonight through Friday night, 10 to 20 plus inches of snow on the way for the mountains. And this time around, Denver should get some snow. Starting as early as Friday afternoon through early Saturday morning, we have 1 to 4 inches of snow in our forecast for the metro area. So it's not going to be a big storm, but for most of us, we haven't had more than an inch of snow so far this season. And of course, the timing's not great because it's going to be snowing, it's going to be cold, and it's going to be windy, just as thousands of folks are out and about celebrating the new year. Downtown Denver, 2 firework displays on Friday evening will be in the teens. So just make sure you're prepared for the chill, whatever your Friday night plans may be. The weather is not going to be great. It's going to be cold.
Yeah, layer up, get those hats and your gloves
Right.
and your hot drink.
I feel like this happens a lot on New Year's.
It seems like it does,
You always
right?
gotta bundle up.
And then like next week is going to be quiet again, you know, back into the 50s, dry. It's just not the greatest timing, but we do need the moisture.
Yes.
So on that, from that perspective, it's a good thing.
All right, that is good. Well, thank you so much for joining us for CBS 4 this morning. CBS Mornings starts now.